All right. Hey there, guys. It's Mia here. I am so excited. I am so excited tonight about the Results Incubator. I have an incredible guest and client, and I'm so excited to introduce her to you tonight. I always try with the Results Incubator to bring you authentic clients who've created amazing results, being themselves and showing up by standing in their value. And my hope is that as a result of you hearing their story, that it inspires you to do something differently. It inspires you to know what is possible for you. I'm Mia Redrick, business and life consultant, and I got started in my company over 20 years ago. And I had the simple desire to figure out how to take my knowledge, my background, and my gifts and how to package it into a product and a high ticket service where I could serve the world. And, as a result of doing that, I've had the opportunity to coach thousands of women literally around the world. And I'll tell you this, I only coach giants. The women that I work with, they're smart, they're sharp, and they're action takers and they're investors. They proactively look at ways to invest in themselves to change their life. And you're going to hear our guest tonight, and she's going to share with you her journey. And I want to encourage you, if you're watching the replay, I want to hear your comments. And if you're watching me live, great. Whether it's YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, it doesn't matter, right? Or Instagram or Twitter. I want you to know that this is absolutely possible for you. All right. So without any further ado, I want to introduce my guest, and it's Roberta Pettis, one of my clients. I've had the great fortune to get to know and to watch you grow. I want to welcome you to the Results Incubator, Roberta.
Thank you, Mia. So glad to be here.
Awesome. So tell our audience, who are you? What do you do? Who do you serve?
Okay. So my name is Roberta Scott Pettis, and I'm the president and founder of Focus Works Consulting Group. And we are a training and development consulting firm specializing in developing people and organizations. I am also a master facilitator for leadership development. I'm a certified executive coach and a diversity, equity, and inclusion strategist. And I serve many organizations from corporate America to nonprofits, federal, state, and local government as well, and
Awesome.
universities and colleges as well. I
Awesome. So
really
you're
enjoy that work too.
you're a busy entrepreneur, and I love that. So, obviously with your background, which is a significant background, what made you decide that you wanted to work with a coach? What was that for you? Because when I met you, you already had a successful business and you're creating incredible results already. You've been in business for over, a couple decades. Why did you choose to work with a coach?
Okay, so it will be 10 years next year. Okay, so I've been in business since 2013. And, as a certified executive coach and someone that truly believes in coaching, I think that you always need a coach. So I've had, some form of coaching, but, I was really looking to take my business to another level. And that so I decided that I need to really work with someone who is where I want to be. I think that when you surround yourself with people that are giants, you get the opportunity to really uh, elevate. And so I wanted to make sure that I was able to do that with like-minded people that understood the journey of an entrepreneur, who understood leaving corporate and doing this on your own, and so I definitely got that. So that's what I was looking for, and that's why I needed a coach.
Awesome. So I love that because I think that that's so great for our audience. A lot of times when people are looking for a coach or a mentor, they don't know necessarily where to get started. And I think that what you just shared is really just is a great way for them to think about it. Now, were there one or two or three ideas you had in your mind of the kind of coaching that you needed specifically? Because one of the gaps that I see with so many people, they don't know what is real online, they don't know who to work with. how did you narrow down for yourself the kind of coaching that you needed? Right, because I think if others could figure out for themselves, how do I narrow down what I need, based on my own professional background, how did you do that for yourself?
So, I have, as I mentioned, I've coached for a while. And primarily when I'm coaching, I'm doing one-on-one executive coaching, which is a little bit different because you're with a company and you have goals that you're trying to set. And then I guess right before the pandemic, I had worked in another group, and I realized at that time I like that kind of setting.
Hmm.
I like working with a coach, but also having like-minded women, and I really like working with women in that setting. So, and I was thinking about it. It was right. I think it was in January when I saw uh, on Facebook. I saw you on Facebook. Now I hadn't seen you before, and it was so funny because I was thinking about I have got to find a group. I've got to find some women. And so because it's the beginning of the year, and my mind is always thinking about that at the beginning of the year. And I happened to be up like at 1 in the morning, and I saw your intro. And then it was a session. It was maybe it was a free session, and it was coming up that next week. But it was something about your, I mean, maybe your authenticity, but and what you were saying was just resonating with me. I felt like I felt in church before I went out on my own. The pastor talked about it is time for you to step into, it's time for you to step into your greatness. I mean, all the things that he was saying, and you were saying everything that I had been thinking about. So I was like, okay, I signed up and attended that week long. I think at that time it was a week.
Yeah. Hmm.
And right away I signed up. I mean, I felt the energy of with you, just what you were saying. You had been there. I was just in awe with what you were saying. And then with the cohort of women that were there at that time too, it was just wonderful. So, I knew I was looking for something. Wasn't I hadn't worked it out until I saw you, and it was that instant. And I don't wait around a lot of things. So, but I was like, okay, this is it. So that's how it happened.
So this is what I love about this conversation, because I know for a fact that the women that I've been able to support that have created the greatest results are women who say yes and then figure it out. And what you're saying is exactly that. It sounds like you saw my webinar or saw some training that was online. From there, you learned about the Giant Experience Master Training. You came to our master training, and from that moment on, we began the journey of working together. And I love that, you didn't know me already, right? But I think that also you probably saw a lot of proof. Now, one of the things that I think is really important is that online people can tell you anything, Roberta, and you know this. I could say I work with thousands of people and never show you more than 3 or 4 people that I've supported. The reality is that I really try to, in authenticity, to show, my audience, prospects, my clients, the kind of results and transformation that I have been able to create with clients. I mean, my clients create their own results. Who inside of our community that their story inspired you? And I know that you don't know the question, so you might have to think on this one for a minute. But I always think that for a lot of my clients, there's 1 or 2 people that you saw or you heard their story, or you watched them grow, or you watched them, create something amazing, and it inspired you and made you realize that what you wanted to create for yourself, which is ideally building a high ticket product, building a business that's time rich based on leverage, hitting 6 figures or more in your business. Who inspired you in the community? Was there anyone?
Oh, okay, you done got me on this one. Because it was so many of them, and I'm terrible with some of these names. But so we watched your in-person event.
Yes.
I guess the last in-person event.
Yes.
Um, and there were several women on there. First, just the energy in the room, because I do a lot of in-person training, so you could
Yeah.
feel the energy. I was like, what would I give to have been in that session? But the so I know I'm gonna mess up her name. Roshina, the
Roshonda.
producer, Roshana. Okay, so she is one sharp lady,
Yes, she is.
and I was just really impressed with, her industry. She was in television, a producer or something, and I know that that's a hard industry. And I was just really impressed that she came out of that and is coaching and doing all kinds of things to help women prepare uh, for TV.
Yeah.
That was one that I was impressed with. Deb um,
Yeah. Deb Porter.
Porter, she shared some really good information too, and I've heard her on a few calls as well. Um, and I mean, it's several people, even from the cohort. So it's several people that it's just a group of women that are successful, professional already. And they're looking, it seems like we're all at the same point of looking for to get to that, what do we call it? Level 5 self actualization,
Yeah.
right? And it seems like we're all on that journey. All of us are like minded, and you have, you know, doctors and PhDs, and I mean, just every business, every industry. So it's fascinating just to hear what people are, what they're involved in, how all of these different, just because we're all in this session, all the different opportunities that are coming because you have changed your mindset and you've opened your universe, what you put out there in
Yeah.
the universe, it comes back to you. And so it's amazing to really hear what people are experiencing as a result of working with you and your all of the resources that you provide to us. Yeah, it's wonderful.
So I love this. Thank you so much. I love this because what I think makes it so great is to be in a coaching community where you've got a lot of people implementing and doing the work. And if you are in an environment where we all hold a space for everyone to be amazing and great, and that we aren't just coming on calls to say, I created my website today. It's like, yay, but people are really being highly actionable in their implementation and understanding how to stand in their value and how to pitch this to corporations at the highest level, or how to do high level consulting and coaching, and knowing what's possible step by step. And I actually think that what I love so much about being able to coach, you know, my clients is the fact that everybody does something different. Each call is different. And while you guys get so many great resources, there's so much that you learn on the call in real time that really is not even inside of any course at all. It's just based on, years long of experience and being able to pass forward how you specifically could pitch or price or
Yeah.
package your own knowledge. So you came to the Giant Experience Master Training, which when you came was over the course of the live training was over the course of 5 days. Now it's over the course of 2 days, same amount of time. So had you ever had an experience like that where you come, you get 45 days access to, your training, and that's online and to be able to watch it, and then you come live to, 13 plus hours of coaching live with me? Was that what you were expecting? Had you had an experience like that ever before coaching?
No, I had not had that experience. And and those are some of the things I was trying to figure out. I think that it was the pricing, packaging, and promoting, but definitely the packaging and pricing. And so, as I mentioned, I was doing a lot of the traditional coaching of the one-on-one, with corporate through companies.
Yeah,
who
sure.
brought me in. So that's what I was doing. And even the group coaching that I was doing was because of the training, if I was working with a group, over a period of time.
Yeah.
But I had not had an experience with, having access to a plethora of resources like that. And, and at that time, I think we were completing some materials and then we would come on to the calls. So I hadn't experienced that. I was just doing some different, one-on-one coaching. And then with the other group coaching, it was still structured a little bit differently. Um, so no, this was just, it was a great experience, exactly what I needed. Um, and so, it was a very unique um, coaching experience and one that I really love and what I want to and I'm structuring a program similar to it because I really enjoy um, that level of not just well, I mean the discussions, the openness, and then the learning from you, just the talking through. And I'm like, sometimes I'm sitting there like, why have I made this so difficult? I mean, you are making it, it's like it's accessible and you feel like you can do it. And you're kind of, like, okay, I'm going to do this because of that. So I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I love that experience. I love this whole experience. So, I mean, this has been the second year because I've just really enjoyed the community and enjoyed working with you.
So now, obviously, as a result of us working together, there are a lot of people who are listening. They're like, wow, well, that's great. You love the coaching, you love the teaching, but what have been the direct results of what you've learned? And,
Yeah.
sometimes it's a qualitative result. Sometimes it doesn't relate to a number, and sometimes it's a quantitative result. And so you can share whatever you're comfortable with. What would you say has been a direct result as because of what you've learned over the last year and a half?
Okay. So great question because I will say that when I came, when I saw your video that night at 2 in the morning on a Saturday, that was right. It was was it a year into the pandemic?
I think so.
I think so.
Well, or maybe like 8 months or so
Yes,
into it, something like
yes,
that.
you're right. Because I was like, I had lost a lot of clients. I mean, and I had a calendar that was filled of doing the traditional training of going out to the field, going to corporate sites and training, and literally all of it has stopped.
Sure.
So the money, what I was looking at over the next few months, I mean, I wanted to curl up in a fetal, to be honest.
Sure.
And so your when I saw that video, I had to really make a decision. I love how you would always say you want to show up big for yourself. I think that's
Yeah.
how you say
Sure.
it. And I said, I can curl up or I can find a way to make this happen. Because it probably didn't make logical sense. And luckily I work by myself, so I don't have to, and I'm divorced, so I don't have to explain it to anybody. But I had to make the decision at that time. And it was absolutely one of the best decisions that I made. I was able to kind of repackage because I was in the middle of doing that. I had put in money to an LMS and a CRM, and I was trying to do those things. But I still didn't have the packaging. So you really helped me to think about how do you restructure correctly, first of all, how do you price it and still show up, with understanding what you bring to the table, and you would put that in our heads. I'm like, I've been doing this for 25 years now. I know that I know what I'm doing. And so I need to stand up in that value. So I was able to come out of where I was in a deficit, and I have grown, I probably almost doubled revenue from the first year of being with you. And so I've really been able to definitely, I mean, almost, I'm really at almost meeting some of my goals. I mean, right there. So I was able to really close some large ticket, $150,000, 50,000, 30, uh, deals that were didn't feel like I had sold, you know, because I think for years I had a fear of kind of the selling. I mean, not a fear of it, I just didn't like to do it,
Yeah, sure.
you know. But being a lot more confident in how I was showing up for myself. And definitely I've made some huge results as a part of it. You really helped me not too long ago close the largest deal that I had. Uh, you know, doing some certification training for a group, and I mean, but you helped me. We talked about it. You gave me some pointers about it, and we closed it. Yeah.
So I love what you're saying because it sounds like, based on what you're saying, you closed over six figures working with me.
Oh yeah.
and
Absolutely.
and I love this because I had done a couple of, I just did a results incubator a couple of weeks ago, and Connie was sharing, listen, like I closed six figures, like this is what happened, and Chevelle was like, I closed six figures, this is what happened, and I love this that you guys have the opportunity to share your stories on, because we don't know what's real, and sometimes it's just that small thing that's missing because you already are the expert. You already were creating amazing results. But the money, as you know, is in the model. And knowing how to structure your models based on your business, right, in a way that works and is most profitable is really very powerful. And I think also knowing what the options are as it relates to building a business that's time rich. Because most of us have learned how to sell time, but not how to structure a business based on leverage. And it's something that I think is really important that I teach, all of my clients.
Yeah.
So, um, one of my questions is like mindset, right? Like, imagine if you're selling things and you're trading time for dollars, or if you had a tough year in COVID and, and you see negative numbers instead of positive numbers. What allowed you, when you looked at your bank account, right, and it probably said you cannot make a significant investment in yourself, and you did not make one investment, you made two investments in yourself during that same time. What allowed you to say yes to yourself, right? To see that you didn't have the numbers, but to have that belief in yourself to be able to, to invest in yourself at the highest and tallest level.
I think one of the things is, and I always say this, I never regret what I do. I regret what I don't do.
Yes, that's so good.
And I have really kind of lived like that. Even when I left corporate America, everyone was asking, "You're going to leave that good job? You're going to leave that six figures?" And I went to my boss and I said, "Hey, if I don't make," he said the same thing. And I said, "If I don't make a dime in 2 years, will you hire me back?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, that's all I need to know." And so what I have found, and this is not saying it in a braggadocious way because it's not that at all,
Yeah, sure.
but you know that when you work for yourself, it's amazing. You can go out there and find money.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
can find, you can, because there are a lot of people that need your services. You know that because you've done the research into
Yeah.
whatever industry. So if you make enough phone calls and do enough, you can get the dollars, you can get the money. So I knew that at that time, that is what I had been asking about, that's what I had been praying about. That was where I was at that time. And I truly believe when things come up for you at a time when you are praying and you're
Yeah,
thinking about
that's
it,
right.
and then all of a sudden, I have never seen you before. You came up, and you might as well have said, "Roberta, you need to sign up." That's how I felt. So, that's the thing. I would have regretted. I felt that I would have missed an opportunity, and I knew that I needed that at that point. And you were speaking directly to me, and I'm just so grateful. that I stepped through that door and showed up for myself. Because what else do you have to lose? You've already left corporate. You've left your business. I'm like, I've put everything in it. What am I going to do? Just say, okay, let me get another job? It just doesn't
Sure,
work like that.
sure.
Yeah.
I love what you're saying because one is true and it's exceptionally vulnerable. And I know that the viewers can relate to this and it's their story. And if you have a question for Roberta that you'd like me to ask her, you can post it here in the chat. We're having an amazing conversation tonight. Roberta has just done exceptionally well by standing in her value and showing up for herself and repositioning her business and renegotiating how she wants to work and earn, and as a result of that, you get to live a life and build a life that's unrecognizable. I talk about this all the time. When I think about what I did in corporate, I loved what I did. But the fact of the matter is, I knew that there was more for me. And I knew that if I settled for what was convenient or comfortable or what other people wanted for me, it did not necessarily meet my soul's passion. It wasn't necessarily my purpose and my callings, and that's the problem with the safe lane. So so here's my question, like, as a result of you being in community, have you had any aha that something you learned that prior to coming to community you didn't know, right? And that was like one of the most impactful lessons that you felt like has been changing for you, or maybe it's something that allows you as your north star. Is there anything like that that you've learned or anything you've seen that really stays in the forefront of your mind?
Um, Gosh, there's so many, and I'm trying to think. But I tell you one thing. I think that your I know this is not your tagline, but it really resonated with me. You always say to work with ease and grace.
Yeah,
And so I think that we have been taught, as women, as Black women, that you just have to work twice as hard
yeah,
to
that's
get
right.
half as far.
Yeah,
And to some extent, that has been true. But when you um, when you know your value, I think that the way that you have always positioned everything, it doesn't have to be hard.
yeah,
One of the things I think for all of the women that are in this giant circle, we all are experts at our fields.
yes,
So it's not a lot of learning about our field that we necessarily have to do. I mean, I always do professional development. I think everyone does.
yeah,
But, of really understanding that you can structure your business around your life and make that and still do extremely well. And
yeah,
it's not just financial success,
yeah, that's right.
but it's also just being able to do the things that you want to do. You don't have to go into an office and ask someone, can you get off of work? you know um, that ease and grace has been wonderful. And not too long ago, if I could just share this quick
Of
story.
course.
My father turned 80 in July, and we were planning a huge 80th birthday party at my house. So, honey, I got all this stuff done. We had people flying in, got my deck done, and a few days before the party, like maybe 5 days, he got sick and could not walk. And um, we had to, I had to take him to the hospital. He was in the hospital for probably 3 weeks. He had surgery, then had to go to rehab for another 3 weeks. My parents are 79 and 80. My sister and I live close to our parents. And so, just being able to be there to do that, just taking care and then taking care of your kids. It was so much happening. And it literally, took up the summer of doing that. And I'm like, what if I was working?
Yeah,
What if I was working and couldn't take off like that, and couldn't spend that time? And And every day we go back and forth, and we're making sure we're taking them, we're planning trips, just to make sure that they have a comfortable life like we've had, and just all those things that you're able to do because you've
Yeah.
learned how to build a business where you're making money. You don't have to do, I mean, you're making money and it's coming in. You look up and, oh, so a payment came in. Great. It's coming in, and you're not out there trading the time for money, so that's just great. It's just amazing to me.
So I love what you're saying here because actually, I just want to break this down for those who are listening here, and for those of you who are watching the replay. The truth of the matter is that most people never quite understand what we're talking about here, Roberta. They have a very limited perspective on earning, and they see earning as trading time for dollars. So when you start talking about um, running a business, and I know for me, I like to travel a lot. So running a business and being able to choose to be wherever you want to be, right? And now knowing that you can still be available to your family and be where you want to be because you own your time. It's a radical concept. I mean, literally, for most people, they're thinking, well, what if you're not 15 minutes away? It's like you can be anywhere you want to be because you don't work in the same conventional construct that we've all been socialized. And it's so powerful, and I love what you've shared because it literally is sharing with women who like Sheila and Tammy who are here. I'm so glad you guys are here because what it does is it shows you that you can not only make money in your business, but if you make all the money in the world and you have no time, you have no quality of life. And to me,
Exactly.
one of the most important things is that you can have both. You can have the time and you can have the money. And I try to focus on all of those things as I coach my clients. And there's nothing gimmicky that I share with you guys, right, Lisa? I'm so glad you're here. Okay, and there's nothing gimmicky. I just show you. I pull back the layers and say this is how to do this. This is the way to build your business based on leverage. And I love also what you've shared about women of color specifically in this conversation because it's very important. We've been told that you've got to be twice as good, you've got to work twice as hard as everybody else. And we have done that. But it's just not sustainable long term for healthy quality of life and emotional wellness. And I meet so many women that are burnt out, they're tapped out in their lives because their families, their jobs, their friends, everybody's had this expectation for you to be strong all the time. And the truth of the matter is, the strongest thing you could possibly do is care for yourself at the highest and tallest level to be able to identify your needs and articulate them. And you cannot do that if you don't build a life that allows you to feel. And it takes time to be able to do that. And I also want to speak to this piece too. And I know that you guys know me and you'll hear my heart on this. I've seen so much that now because there's so many women of color who are on fire and doing amazing things that in many ways that there are lots of coaches who see us as commodities. Like, oh, I need to get me some good smart black women, right? But it's not about that. It's about matching yourself with people who respect you and honor you, who don't see you as a means to an end, that can support you and that understand and share the values that you have. The fact is that family is important to you, that your faith does matter to you, that integrity and authenticity is a priority to you, and that will respect and honor you in their training. And that's so important. I think sometimes we never think about those things. And I always going to be 100% with all of you guys that follow me and understand that today, unlike any time in coaching, the black woman has become a commodity. It's literally like it's popular, right? Let me find some good black women to coach. But you better make sure that the people that you say yes to, that you take your intelligence and your expertise and your gifts with, have a to care about you. Okay, they care about the way that you want to raise your family, or show up in your life, in your world, and they don't see you as a means to an end. I'm always gonna be honest because that's really important, and we have that in our community. I work with many women from many different backgrounds. However, the majority of my client base are women of color, and they are on fire. And there's tremendous respect for who you are as a woman, as a being, and understanding that we're trying to course correct what has, been our history of working so freaking hard that you just cannot remember anybody ever telling you about building a business with ease and grace, living a life on your own terms, understanding how to renegotiate the way that you work and you earn because you deserve it. So I just want to say that because that's really important, and we
Very
don't talk
important.
about it enough. But I see it, and it sickens my soul when I see it. That so many people are like, they know they can't help you, they know that they don't have a solution for you, and they just see you as a person that they can basically take your money and do whatever it is, right? So you need to make sure that your coaches, that they have a proven result. You need to make sure that they have more than 5 clients that they can tote in front of you and say that I've created those results for those individuals. If I tell you that I've done television, I should have samples of television that I've done. And if I tell you that I help clients create 6-figure businesses over and over again, or my clients hitting products 10K or more, 5K or $2,500 or more, 100K or more, the reality is I should be able to show you that. And it doesn't mean that I'm guaranteeing that that's going to be your result, but I'm showing you that with my process, it works. And I'm always going to teach anybody that's in my world how to think about what you choose for yourself. And you do have to be proactive around who you say yes to, making a significant investment in yourself. And I have my question to you, Roberta. Roberta, is that you've made significant investments in coaching, in yourself. And obviously with me, you've made significant investments. And what was the mindset that you had that allowed you to say, I'm worth it? Because there are a lot of women out here, they're doing like these little challenges. They're investing $97, right? They're like, I want to change my life. I want to change the way I work. I want to hit 6 figures in the next couple, months or year. But they're not investing at the level of the change that they desire. And they're investing at the level of their belief. So I want you to talk a little bit about what allowed you to invest in yourself at the highest and tallest level.
Yeah, I like I said before, I really believe in coaching. Um, and I've had some great coaches before. I've had some were just like, but the ones that I have had that have been great, I mean, throughout my career, um, they worked as I work. I feel, just as you said, I feel uh, I care about the people that I work with. I don't, any client that I have, I've talked to them about I'm partnering with you. It is not, oh, I'm just trying to hurry and take your money. That's not it. I partner with you. I care about you. I get to know you because that's the only way that I can help. And that is one of the things that I see with you is that, and I don't know how in the world you remember every single thing that people say and what. And I'm like, how in the world she remember? I can't remember anything sometimes. I have to write everything down. But you remember, and we can feel, or let me say, I can feel that you care. You care about our success, and you put it all out there, not just some, all out there. And anytime I have been I was looking for contracts. I was looking for, the contracting piece and the licensing thing. Like, how do you set that up? Um, and I think one day we were talking. You said, "Well, you need to go back to core purpose and look." And I was like, "Oh, you're right. I do." Okay. So uh, you have set that up for us to know that if you always say you're a giver, not it's something that you say, but it's not, you're not stingy. you
A
you
go
are
giver.
a giver, and you really give of yourself, of your resources, really to help us to get to the next level. And that is what I am looking for. That's what I provide when I work with my clients. I give it all, and that's what I look for in a client. I hope I
Awesome.
answered your question.
You did answer my question. And then there is another question, and that is from Sheila Davis. Hi, Sheila. We're going to say hi to Sheila.
Hi, Sheila.
Now, she wants to know what are some changes, Roberta, that you made in the structure of your business as a result of the coaching program. So I think she's saying as a result of working with me.
Yes.
Also, she says, thank you for your story. It's very similar to her story.
Oh, great, great. Well, thank you for sharing that. So what I changed in my structure is that I was really focused more on the training and doing workshops. And I struggled with getting longer term engagements was one of the things that I kind of struggled with. And then when you're just trying to make ends meet at the beginning, you're just taking it and doing what you need to do. And then I looked at coaching actually differently too. So one of the things is that Mia talked a lot about setting up your proprietary system. And I always had a proprietary system. I didn't necessarily sell it. I was still selling it individually. Like, oh, yeah, I can do your coaching. Okay, and we can do training. So now I kind of put it together. And so, we're doing training and then uh, training, you go into the, you're on the, out in the field or whatever you're doing in your environment, in your workspace. And then you come back to coaching and we talk about how did that work out for you? What are some of the things that you're doing and giving them time to digest the training and coaching them through that to the next result. And then we're moving to the next thing together as a group. So that is one of the things that's one of the structure changes that I made, and it makes so much sense uh, to the companies I work with, to the people that I work with, and for me having a process or a structure in place and not looking at everything individually. I felt that I was constantly reinventing the wheel every time I was talking to someone. And even though it's the same thing, something in my mind was just looking at it differently. I'm not sure what it was, but it all kind of came together. Working with Mia, listening to her, listening to everyone, kind of going through the same process I was going through. We were going through it together. So that's the structure change that I made.
I love this, what you're saying, and I think that there's tremendous value being in community with people your own ambition level and above, because sometimes they have a question that you don't know to ask, and and that question gets answered for them, and then you're like, oh, I could use that, and I just didn't think of it this way, and that's why you have to be in community with people your own ambition level and above, versus just like in some programs, everybody's accepted. People don't, they shouldn't be in a program, right? Like to begin with, right? Because they're not all matched. And so you cannot grow in those environments because you have to, your skill set is all over the place. We work with sharp, smart, professional women who already have the ability to create amazing results and already have done so in their life.
Mm-hmm.
They are investment minded. They say yes and they figure it out. I don't really work with people who are trying to figure out, like, should I make an investment in myself? It's like, are we serious? Like, did you look at the kind of results in the women that I work with, and you're trying to figure out whether or not you should say yes to yourself? I mean, okay, that's fine. I work with people who are very much like you, who are like, I just saw this, I feel called, I feel led, this is what I'm looking for, and they are not afraid to step into that next level for themselves. And that's super important because to build an amazing, successful business, it requires self trust, and that's
Mm-hmm.
not an external exercise. It's an internal knowing. It's intuition. It's divine guidance directing you, right? To trust yourself and your instincts. I work with a lot of women who are married, right? And I've obviously been married and am married for 27 years. And the truth of the matter is that a lot of people say, I want to make an investment in myself, but I need to talk to my husband right before I move forward. The truth of the matter is, if you're running a business, you need to be in a position to be able to make a decision in your business for yourself to grow you. And if that is not, that has to be an external decision, it's important to look at it. And I'm not talking about, not, saying, hey, this is what I want to do. But if I said to my husband, I want to join a gym, a fancy gym, I'm not going to say, you think I should join a gym? He's going to be thinking, are you going to work out? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to work out? Like, why are you even asking me this question? It has nothing to do with me, okay?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we're looking for a pass. We're looking for a way to escape. We're looking for a way not to say yes to ourselves. And it's the only reason that we survey our audience. I love working with women who say yes to themselves because they know what they deserve. And Roberta, I want to thank you for your answer because it was such a good answer. And Sheila, thank you for such a great question. The
And me,
fourth,
I wanted to say one more thing too that you reminded me of is that I think that one of the things that I understand, and then you understand being a corporate trainer in your background, is that you have to make time for development. In a job, in anything you do, if you're working now, whatever, you have to make time for it. Sometimes you're going to have to pay for it. And I have, some customers or people that will call and they were like, oh, well, I don't know if I can do that. And I don't know if we have the money to do it. And I'm like, I understand, but understand that with your leadership team, you're going to pay now or pay later. You have to develop people. You can't just hire someone and put them in a job and think they're going to do it. Well, it's the same thing with us. We need to look at ourselves as, you know, we're bringing in, we're raising kids, or
yeah,
we're building businesses, we have a lifestyle, we travel, we do whatever we do. You have to be able to fund that, and you have to be able to professionally professionally and personally develop, look, understand who you are, understand how you show up, understand what value you bring and what are your values, so you
yeah,
can align your life with your values.
yeah,
So we really have to put ourselves first, because you're going to, for your kids, how many you've paid for soccer, basketball, football, you pay for everything else to help your kids do whatever. And that's just an analogy that I'm using, just like I did with my girls. You're paying their college tuition and all of that. And so you need to look at yourself like that. It's not, your development is not over. You should be a continuous learner for the rest of your life. And so when you're ready to, if you look at it like that, this is a small investment in
oh,
your future.
I love this, and it's such a timely topic because just today my daughter sends me a Skype message, and Alex is studying abroad in Scotland this semester, and the message is, "Mom, I need money to book my flight to Spain. Okay, in 2 weeks. Okay." And I was thinking to myself, like, okay, if you're talking about investment, here it is. She's got a mindset at 21, like, not like, should I go? Should I see the world? Should no hesitation. And yet we, the women who make the dreams happen for our children, often question ourselves in the exact same experience. Should I? Hmm.
Hmm.
Let Okay. But I've learned this, that whatever I have done for myself is what I give to my kids, and my kids get the sum of the investments that I've made in myself. And because of
Exactly.
that, I give myself every single thing I possibly can, because it has changed my life and my world. And I thought it was so funny because she didn't like write me and say, "Mom, do like like." She had an expectation, she had an intention, like literally. Okay, so I think that's so important. I want to say last call for any questions for Roberta. You've been an amazing guest tonight,
Oh,
and
thank
we've
you.
gotten so many comments. And Danielle says, this was right on time,
Oh,
right?
awesome.
And Sheila says that I love the approach. That's great. And
Great.
Anita says, um, great, which I love. I'd love
Hey,
to make that
Anita.
to Anita. And then Lisa writes, which, Lisa's a giant in our community. Preach, Roberta.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. And Lisa's one of the giants that I admire too. She's doing it. I
She's
love her story.
she's absolutely incredible, and that's the coolest part, is being in community with other women who you can admire, who are your own ambition level and above. So I want to thank you, Roberta, for being an amazing guest. And you know it's the heartfelt conversations that really make all the difference. All you knew was to tell them who you are, what you do, who you serve, and nothing else really. And you didn't know the questions, and yet we had a great conversation tonight, because the best conversation doesn't need to be scripted. It doesn't need to be read, because it truly is from the heart. And I can just talk to you about what you actually are doing. So if someone in the audience wanted to reach out to you, tell, please tell them how they can contact you.
Okay, okay. But let me first just say, the reason why it's easy to talk about it is because that's what we do on our calls. We talk about it.
Yeah.
We talk about it. It's, all the women have similar stories in that you have really changed um, the trajectory, of where we are, where we're headed. And, so just let me just thank you for just opening my mind to, the possibilities of all the things that, I can do. And for all of us, all the things that we can do, and just your generosity, what you're doing. I love that you bring your daughter on. I think it's so important that we teach our young girls. I do. My daughters are 20 and 23. And I do the same. I think it's important that we teach our young women how to live,
Yeah.
and in many ways, we're still creating our stories, and it's exciting because it can be something different all the time. Different things are going to continuously come up because we've opened our minds. We're talking. We all have, we could we just have a lot to, we share so much, and there's so many opportunities, and we're not, scared to, we want to keep all this to ourselves. We are sharing our stories. We know that there's enough for every single person in the world. You don't have to be stingy, and you are teaching that. So I just appreciate you and everything that you do. So the way that you can get in touch with me, so it's, my company is called Focus Works Consulting Group. So my website is www.focusworkscg is in consultinggroup.com. And my email is rpettis at focusworkscg.com. And I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. So I'd love to talk to whoever wanted to talk.
I love this, and I'm so excited. It was such a great conversation tonight, and you were just the perfect guest. And I know that the women, we've seen the comments. Anita just said, "Thank you for sharing your story," and I know that it will inspire someone to act. And whether it's someone that's here tonight on all of the platforms, or whether it's someone that watches the replay tonight, or over the next few months or next few years, that's why we do this, is because we want you to know what is real and what is true. If I can support you in any way, I'm always here. And you can always go to miaredrick.com and see what I've got going on. I did post a link for a strategy session. If you're just like, Mia, like I want to work with you, but I'm not sure how you can help me, and you want to speak with a member of our team, I'm going to, you can book a strategy session. And one of our team members, or maybe you'll get me on a call, and I'll have the opportunity to support you. I also just posted a link to my main page, miaredrick.com, and there you'll see the link to my master training, to my free webinar, and you can sign up for any and all of those things. And it's just, my webinar is 100% free. If you want to get started packaging and leveraging what you know and trying to figure out how I might support you, watch it. It's about 45 minutes to 1 hour. It's really just a good first step. And my only goal is to support you. And if you love this webinar, I mean, tonight, this conversation tonight, share it with a friend. Don't keep it to yourself. Pass it on to a friend or two so that their life can change. So, again, Roberta, I want to say thank you for being terrific. And I want to thank you for showing up tonight and being an amazing audience. We loved your questions, we loved your energy, and I hope that it inspires you to take an incredible action for yourself to change your life. We love you, and have a great and amazing night.
Thank you, Mia. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Okay.